At a swanky party in downtown Detroit, 27-year-old auto mechanic Riley is shocked to hear his fiancée, Layla, publicly mock him as a cute wrench. In the midst of laughing, he threw his wedding ring on the floor and walked away. But Layla didn't stop there. She began a campaign to destroy his life. Will it break Riley? Or will he turn the tables and get justice in a world where status matters more than soul? Riley Carter, a 27-year-old grease-stained gearhead from Detroit, had never been one for glitter or glitz. He lived for the rumble of engines, the clank of wrenches, and the satisfaction of turning a busted car into a purring beast. His small auto shop, tucked in a gritty corner of the Motor City, wasn't much to look at, peeling paint on the walls, oil stains on the floor, but it was his kingdom. He built it from scratch, pouring sweat and soul into every bolt. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest, and damn it, he loved it. So when his fiancée, Layla Pierce, begged him to tag along to her company's swanky holiday bash downtown, he hesitated. "It's not my scene, Lay," he grumbled, wiping grime off his hands with a rag. But her big hazel eyes softened, her voice turned sweet. "Please, Ree, I want them to meet you. You're my guy." Against his better judgment, he caved. The party was everything he dreaded. Held in a sleek high-rise overlooking the Detroit River, the room dripped with excess, crystal chandeliers, waiters in crisp white shirts weaving through the crowd with trays of champagne, and a sea of suits that probably cost more than his entire tool collection. Layla, a rising star in her marketing firm, fit right in. She glided through the crowd in a shimmering red dress, her laugh cutting through the chatter like a blade. Riley, meanwhile, stuck out like a sore thumb. He'd swapped his usual flannel and jeans for a borrowed blazer that pinched his broad shoulders, but he still felt the stares, some curious, some amused, as he nursed a beer by the bar. He told himself it didn't matter. He was there for her, not them. Things held steady for a while. Layla dragged him around, introducing him to her polished colleagues with a proud little smile. "This is Riley, my fiancé," she'd say, her hand squeezing his arm. He'd nod, shake hands, and mutter something about cars when they asked what he did. Most of them gave him that tight-lipped smile, the kind that said, "Oh, how quaint," before pivoting to talk stocks or ad campaigns. He grit his teeth and powered through. But the air shifted about an hour in, when Layla pulled him into a circle of her closest work buddies. A tall guy with slick back hair and a Rolex, Tyler, she'd called him, leaned in with a smirk. "So, Riley, what's your deal? What do you do?" "I run an auto shop," Riley said, keeping it short. "Fix cars, keep 'em running. Simple. True." Before Tyler could respond, Layla jumped in, her voice dripping with a playful lilt that made Riley's gut twist. "Isn't it adorable?" she said, tossing her hair back with a laugh. "He's my little wrench turner, Detroit's own grease hero." The group erupted in chuckles, a few clapping like she'd just delivered the punchline of the year. Riley froze, his beer halfway to his lips. "Grease hero," he echoed, his eyes flicking to her. She waved a manicured hand, giggling. "Oh, come on, Ree, it's just a joke. Lighten up." The others moved on, chattering about some client pitch, but Riley couldn't. That tone, mocking, dismissive, clawed at him. It wasn't just a jab. It was a spotlight on everything he'd feared she thought of him. The real gut punch came later. The party was in full swing, the DJ pumping bass through the room, when Layla grabbed a mic for a toast. She stood on a small stage, glass raised, radiant under the lights. "To my amazing team," she started, her voice smooth as silk, "you guys make this job a dream." Cheers rang out. Then her gaze slid to Riley, sitting at their table, and her lips curved into a grin that didn't reach her eyes. "And a special shout-out to my fiancé, Riley," she added, pausing for effect. "He's not exactly climbing the corporate ladder, but if your engine dies, he's your man, Detroit's finest grease monkey." The room exploded. Laughter bounced off the walls, heads turning to gawk at him. Some clapped. Others smirked, their eyes glinting with that smug, "Oh, bless his heart," pity. Riley's face burned, his hands curling into fists under the table. Layla beamed, soaking in the attention, oblivious, or worse, indifferent, to the humiliation radiating off him. He couldn't breathe. The noise, the stares, her words, they crashed over him like a tidal wave. He shoved his chair back, the screech of metal on tile cutting through the din, and bolted for the exit. The cold December air hit him like a slap as he stepped onto the balcony, the city skyline blurring through the heat in his eyes. He replayed it, grease monkey, wrench turner, each phrase a knife twisting deeper. This wasn't a slip. It was her, peeling back the mask she'd worn for months. Footsteps clicked behind him. "There you are." Layla's voice, bright and unbothered, followed by the clink of her glass as she set it down. Why'd you storm off? It's a party. He spun to face her, his jaw tight. You think that was funny? Making me a punchline in front of your fancy friends. She blinked, then laughed sharp, incredulous. Oh, it was a joke. Everyone loved it. I didn't, he snapped, stepping closer. You stood there, tearing me down, and you don't even see it. Her smile vanished, eyes narrowing. You're overreacting. It's not my fault you can't take a little tease. That did it. Something snapped. He yanked the engagement ring off his finger, a simple band he'd saved months for, and slammed it onto the railing between them. We're done, Layla, he said, voice low and final. Enjoy your spotlight. Her jaw dropped, but he didn't wait for her reply. He turned, strode back inside, and grabbed his coat from the table. The room hushed, as darting between him and the balcony where Layla stood, stunned, the ring glinting in the light. Riley, wait, she called, rushing in, her heels clacking. He didn't stop. You made your scene, he threw over his shoulder. Now live with it. He pushed through the crowd, their whispers buzzing like flies, and hit the elevator button. As the doors slid shut, he caught her silhouette, frozen, clutching her glass, the queen of the night suddenly dethroned. The ride down was silent, but his blood roared. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Riley woke up the next morning in his cramped apartment above the auto shop, the taste of last night's humiliation still bitter on his tongue. The bed felt too big without Layla's warmth beside him, but the sting of her words, grease monkey, wrench turner, kept any regret at bay. He'd done the right thing, he told himself, splashing cold water on his face in the cracked bathroom sink. Downstairs, the shop was quiet, the usual hum of drills and engines absent. He flipped on the lights, the fluorescent buzz filling the silence, and tried to focus. A busted carburetor waited on his workbench, something he could fix, something he could control. But his phone wouldn't stop pinging. He ignored it at first, figuring it was just Layla blowing up his inbox with excuses. Then a text from his buddy Nate flashed across the screen. Dude, you seeing this? Attached was a screenshot that made Riley's stomach drop. Layla had taken to Instagram. Her post was a selfie from the party, her in that red dress, glass raised, smiling like a queen. The caption read, when your fiancé can't handle a little fun and storms out over a toast. Guess some people can't keep up with the big leagues. Hashtag dodged a bullet, she'd tagged him. Publicly. His notifications were a flood. Likes, laughing emojis, comments like, what a baby, and, you're better off, girl, from strangers and mutual friends alike. His jaw clenched so hard his teeth ached. She wasn't just licking her wounds, she was swinging back, painting him as the fragile fool. He scrolled further and found a story. He thinks his little garage is a career. Cute, right? Followed by a poll. Should I have stayed with the grease guy? Yes/no. No was winning, 78%. The shop's landline rang, snapping him out of the spiral. It was Mrs. Carter, no relation, just a sweet old lady whose Buick he'd tuned up last week. Riley, hon? I'm so sorry, she said, her voice shaky. I saw what that girl posted. I won't be bringing the car in tomorrow. My son thinks I should find someone more stable. He forced a calm, no worries, ma'am, but when he hung up, his hands trembled. Another call followed, Jake, a regular with a souped-up Mustang. Hey, man, I'm out too. People are talking, saying you're unhinged. I can't risk it. 2 cancellations in 10 minutes. His livelihood, the one thing he'd built with his own hands, was crumbling because of her keyboard courage. He slammed the phone down and paced the shop, the smell of oil and metal grounding him. This wasn't just petty revenge, it was a calculated hit. Layla knew his shop was his lifeblood, knew losing clients would gut him worse than any toast. His mind raced back to little digs she'd dropped before. Maybe you should get a real job tossed out over dinner. Or, my friends think it's sweet you're so hands-on with that same condescending smirk. He brushed them off as quirks, but now they clicked into place. She'd never respected him. And last night's stunt? Just the opening act. Then Nate burst through the door, his boots thudding on the concrete. You ain't gonna believe this, he panted, thrusting his phone at Riley. It was a voice memo from the party, sent by Nate's cousin who'd been there. Layla's voice crackled through the static, slurred from wine, but sharp with intent. He's so easy to keep in line. Thinks that garage is some big deal. I'll ditch him once I lock in this promotion. He's just convenient. She laughed, and a guy, Tyler, probably, chimed in. You're slumming it, Pierce. Cut him loose. The recording cut off, but the words looped in Riley's head. Convenient. Slumming it. His chest burned, a mix of fury and betrayal igniting something fierce. This wasn't a misunderstanding. She'd played him, used him as a prop to look relatable at work, a stepping stone to climb higher. He sank onto a stool, the weight of it crashing down. His phone buzzed again, another client bailing, citing drama from Layla's posts. Free now. His savings were thin, a few more drop-offs, and he'd be underwater. Part of him wanted to storm her pristine condo, kick the door in, and scream until she felt half the hurt he did. But that wasn't him. He wasn't the guy who lost it. He was the guy who fixed things. And this needed fixing. He grabbed a notepad and started jotting names. People from the party, anyone who might have seen through her act. Nate watched, brows raised. What's the plan, man? She wants a war, Riley said, his voice low and steady. I'll give her one, but I'm doing it my way. He tapped the pen on the paper, already dialing the first name. Kim, a quiet coworker of Layla's who'd barely laughed at the toast. Hey, Kim, he started when she picked up. You got a sec? I need to know what went down last night. Off the record. Her pause was long, but then she sighed. Yeah, Riley. I saw it all. She's worse than you think. His pulse quickened. Tell me everything. As Kim spilled, Layla's bragging, her snide asides about controlling him, Riley's resolve hardened. This wasn't over. Layla thought she'd buried him, but he was just getting started. The shop door creaked as Nate slipped out, leaving Riley alone with his plan. Outside, the Detroit skyline loomed, cold and unyielding. Layla had lit the match, but he'd stoked the fire. She'd underestimated him, his grit, his fight. He cracked his knuckles and muttered, "Let's see who's laughing when the smoke clears." The phone rang again. Another client, probably, but he let it go to voicemail. He had bigger fish to fry. Riley's auto shop felt like a war room that next day, the air thick with the tang of gasoline and the buzz of his racing thoughts. The carburetor sat untouched on the workbench, drowned out by the chaos Layla had unleashed. 3 clients gone, his phone still buzzing with cancellations. 4 now, a guy with a vintage Charger muttering something about too much baggage. His savings wouldn't hold past a month if this kept up. But Riley wasn't folding. Not yet. Layla's voice from that recording, he's just convenient, looped in his skull, fuel to a fire he hadn't known he could stoke. She'd swung at his life, his pride, and he wasn't about to let her walk away clean. He'd fight back, but smart, legal, sharp, and relentless. He hunched over his notepad, the list of names from the party scribbled in his blocky handwriting. Kim's call last night had been a goldmine. She's been playing you for months, Kim had said, her voice tight. Told us you were her pet project, someone she could parade around to look grounded, then ditch when she climbed high enough. Kim had hesitated, then added, she bragged about it at the bar after you left. Said she'd spin the breakup to make you the bad guy. Tyler egged her on. Riley's grip tightened on the pen. Pet project. The words cut deeper than the toast ever had. But Kim's intel was a weapon, and he intended to use it. First, he needed more. He dialed Nate's cousin, Marcus, who'd sent the voice memo. You still got eyes at that party? Riley asked, pacing the shop floor. Marcus snorted. Man, I was 3 feet from her when she ran her mouth. Got more if you want it. Snagged a video too, but it's shaky. Riley's pulse kicked up. Send it. Now. Minutes later, his phone pinged. The clip was grainy, the party's thumping bass muddling the sound, but Layla's voice sliced through. She leaned into Tyler, wine sloshing in her glass. He's so predictable. Thinks I'd stay with a guy who smells like motor oil. Once I'm VP, he's history. Tyler's laugh rumbled, and someone off-screen chimed in. You're a saint for putting up with him. The video cut as she smirked, raising her glass. Riley's stomach churned, but his resolve hardened. This was ammo, raw, undeniable. He called Kim back. You said she bragged after I left. Anyone else hear it? Kim sighed. Yeah, a few. Jen was there. She's quiet, but she hates Layla's guts. Might talk if you push. Riley jotted Jen next to Kim's name. Got a number? Kim texted it over, and within 10 minutes, Jen was on the line. Her voice was soft, nervous. I didn't laugh at her toast, Riley. Felt bad for you. She's cruel. After you stormed out, she told us she'd trained you to stay small so she could shine. Said she'd ruin you if you fought back. Riley's breath caught. Trained him. Ruin him. He thanked Jen, hung up, and slammed a fist on the workbench. the clang echoing through the shop. Layla wasn't just mocking him, she'd planned to bury him all along. Time to move. He grabbed his keys and roared out in his beat-up F-150, the Detroit streets blurring past. First stop, Marcus, who met him at a dive bar on the east side. Marcus slid a USB across the table. Full audio and video, unedited. She didn't know I was recording, too busy preening. Riley pocketed it, nodding. Oh, you won. Next, he tracked down Jen at a coffee shop near her apartment. She fidgeted with her cup, glancing around. I've got texts, she whispered, showing him her phone. Screenshots glowed on the screen. Layla in a group chat post party. He flipped out over nothing. I'll make sure he regrets it. Garage boys done. Another. Clients hate drama. Watch his shop tank. Riley's blood boiled. She targeted his business on purpose. Back at the shop, he pieced it together like a puzzle. Kim's account, Marcus's recordings, Jen's texts. It wasn't just spite. It was a campaign. Layla had weaponized her charm, her network, to crush him while she climbed. He booted up his ancient laptop, the fan whirring like a jet engine, and started typing. A post short, brutal, true. Layla Pierce called me her pet project, said she'd ditch me once she hit VP. She's tanking my shop to save face. Here's proof. He attached the video, a snippet of audio, and one of Jen's screenshots, anonymized to protect her. His thumb hovered over post. This was it, no turning back. He hit the button, and the screen lit up with shares within minutes. His phone rang. Nate. Bro, it's blowing up. People are pissed for you. Riley checked. Comments poured in. She's a snake. Support local. Screw her. A few clients even texted apologies, promising to come back. But then Layla's name flashed on his screen. He answered, steeling himself. What the hell, Riley? She hissed, her voice venomous. Take it down, or I'll see you into the ground. He laughed, cold and sharp. Sue me? You recorded yourself digging your grave. Keep talking, give me more to post. She sputtered, then hung up. He smirked. Round one, his. The shop door swung open. Nate again, grinning. Heard from Kim. Layla's freaking out at work. Boss caught wind. Riley leaned back, adrenaline pumping. He'd fired the first shot, but Layla wouldn't go quiet. She'd hit harder, dirtier. Fine. He'd be ready. The laptop glowed, notifications ticking up. Outside, a car horn blared, the city alive and restless. Riley cracked his neck and muttered, Game on, Layla. Let's see who breaks first. Riley's shop hummed with a restless energy that evening, the flickering overhead lights casting long shadows across the oil-stained floor. His laptop sat open on the workbench, the screen glowing with the fallout of his viral post. Shares climbed past 100, comments flooding in. She's trash. Stay strong, man. A chorus of strangers rallying behind him. A few old clients had even called, voices sheepish, promising to bring their cars back. It felt good, like a spark catching in a dry field, but Riley knew better than to relax. Layla wasn't the type to slink away quietly. She'd claw back, and when she did, it'd be ugly. He kept the USB from Marcus close, its weight in his pocket a reminder of the ace up his sleeve, proof she couldn't dodge. His phone buzzed again. Layla, third call in an hour. He let it ring, watching her name flash like a warning light. She'd gone silent online after his post hit, her smug Instagram selfie buried under a wave of backlash. But silence from Layla wasn't peace, it was strategy. Nate had crashed on the shop's beat-up couch, scrolling X for updates. People are digging up her old posts, he said, grinning. Found one where she bragged about upgrading her life. Guess that was you, huh? Riley snorted, but his eyes stayed on the laptop. The tide was turning, but he needed more than likes to win this. He needed her exposed, cornered, done. Then it came, a text from Kim, short and urgent. Layla's at the office, losing it. Boss called her in. Check X. Riley opened the app, and there it was, a thread from an anonymous account, someone claiming to be in Layla's firm. Marketing department drama. LP flipped out in a meeting, screamed about fixing her ex-boss not happy. A follow-up. Heard HR's involved, her party rant hit the rumor mill. Riley's pulse kicked up. The toast, the recorded gloating, it was catching up to her. He refreshed, and a new post dropped. A blurry photo of Layla storming out of the high-rise, her face twisted in fury. The caption read, Guess the VP dreams on hold. Karma's a beast. Nate hooped, slapping the couch. She's toast, man. But Riley wasn't celebrating yet. His phone lit up. Layla again, this time a voicemail. He hit play, her voice spilling out, shrill and unraveling. You think you've won, Riley? Posting that crap? I'll bury you, slander, defamation, whatever it takes. Take it down, or you're screwed. She paused, breathing hard, then softer. Please, Ree. We can fix this. Just delete it. He stared at the phone, her desperation crackling through the speaker. For a second, he saw the Layla he'd fallen for, those hazel eyes, that laugh, before the memory soured with grease monkey and convenient. Too late, he muttered, deleting the message. She'd lit this fire. He'd let it burn. The shop's landline rang, cutting through the tension. Riley grabbed it, expecting another client bailout. Instead, a clipped voice said, Mr. Carter? This is David Hensley, Layla Pierce's supervisor. We need to talk. Riley's gut tightened. Yeah. Hensley cleared his throat. Her behavior at the holiday event and after has raised concerns. Your post. It stirred things up. I need your side. Riley leaned against the workbench, weighing his words. She mocked me in front of your team, bragged about using me, then tanked my business with lies. I've got recordings, texts proof. A long pause. Send them, Hensley said finally. Discreetly. Email's fine. Riley hung up, his hands shaking as he attached the files, Marcus's video, Jen's screenshots, the audio clip, and hit send. The truth was out, a missile aimed at Layla's glass tower. An hour later, his phone rang again. Layla, voice raw. What did you do? She snapped. Hensley's got HR breathing down my neck, because of you. Riley kept his tone flat. You did this. That toast? Your big mouth at the bar? It's all coming back. She laughed, bitter and ragged. You're pathetic, Riley. A nobody with a wrench. I'll spin this, say you faked it all. He smirked. Try it. I've got more where that came from. She hung up, and he knew she'd try. But the cracks were showing, her perfect mask slipping. Nate bolted upright, eyes wide. Check this. He shoved his phone at Riley, an ex-post from Jen. Anonymous but unmistakable. LP's been lying for months. Told us her ex was a loser to dump. I've got receipts, ask me. Attached was a group chat screen cap. Layla crowing post-breakup. He's done. Watch his shop bleed out. Riley's post surged again, retweets spiking. Then Kim texted, she's suspended. Hensley saw your stuff. She's raging in the parking lot, cops called. Riley stepped outside, the Detroit night sharp with cold. Sirens wailed downtown, faint but real. Layla's empire was crumbling, and he'd swung the hammer. His laptop pinged new comments, support rolling in. A client texted, back tomorrow, man. Screw her. Another, you're a legend. Riley's chest loosened, a grin tugging at his lips. Layla's call came again, he answered this time. Riley, please, she begged, voice cracking. I'll lose everything. Take it down. He let the silence stretch, then said, you should have thought of that before you aimed at me. Enjoy the fall. He hung up, her sob cut off by the click. The shop felt alive again, the hum of victory drowning out the ghosts of her words. Layla was down, but not out, not yet. He'd savor this, but he'd stay sharp. She'd swing again. He'd be ready. The Detroit dawn broke gray and raw over Riley's shop, painting the cracked concrete in streaks of muted light. He stood at the workbench, hands braced on the scarred wood, the weight of the past week settling like dust after a storm. His laptop, still glowing from last night's chaos, showed the wreckage of Layla's empire in real time. Her suspension had hit X like a thunderclap, posts from coworkers, clients, even strangers, piling on with she had it coming and Team Riley. His own post sat at over 1,000 shares, a raw cry of truth that had ignited a firestorm. The shop's phone hadn't stopped ringing, old clients crawling back, new ones curious, drawn by the buzz. He'd won, hadn't he? But the victory felt hollow, the adrenaline fading into a quiet ache. Layla's last call, her voice breaking, I'll lose everything, echoed in his head. He didn't pity her, not after what she'd done, but he wondered where the girl he'd loved had gone. Nate burst in, coffee in hand, grin splitting his face. You see the latest? She's toast, man, full on meltdown. He shoved his phone at Riley. A grainy video, time-stamped an hour ago, showed Layla in the company parking lot, red-faced and wild-eyed, yelling at a security guard as he ushered her off the premises. This is because of him, she shrieked, jabbing a finger at the air. He's nothing, nothing. The clip cut off as she tripped over her own heels, the guard stone-faced behind her. Comments rolled in, lost it for real, and karma swift. Nate laughed, slapping the bench. She's done. HR's got your proof, Jen says they're talking termination. Riley nodded, staring at the screen. Termination. A year ago, he'd have begged to save her. Now? He just wanted her gone. The shop door creaked again, Kim this time, her coat dusted with snow flurries. "Thought you'd want to know," she said, voice low. "Hensley called me in after you sent those files. Layla tried spinning it, claimed you doctored everything, threatened to sue. But the video? The texts? Too tight. They're cutting her loose, official words coming Monday." She hesitated, then added, "She's telling people you ruined her out of spite. Some buy it, but most don't." Her mask's off. Riley met her eyes, steady. "Thanks, Kim. For everything." She shrugged. She had it coming. "You're all right, Riley." She left, the door banging shut, and he felt a weight lift. Not just his fight anymore. The truth had legs of its own. His phone buzzed, a text from Jen. "She's off the group chat. Boss chewed her out, said her leadership was a liability. You're clear." Clear. The word hit like a deep breath. He stepped outside, the cold biting his cheeks, and watched a tow truck rumble past, the city waking up around him. Layla's fall was complete, suspended, soon fired, her VP dreams ash. She'd swung at him with everything, lies, posts that calculated toast, and it had boomeranged. He hadn't needed fists or screams. He'd used her own words, her own arrogance, and let the world judge. Justice, clean and legal, the way he'd promised himself. Back inside, Nate was pacing, hyped. "Bro, your shop's trending. Got a guy on X saying he's bringing his Camaro in 'cause you're a badass." Riley smirked, the first real smile in days. The cancellations had stopped, 5 clients back, 3 new bookings already. He'd weather this. More than that, he'd thrive. He grabbed the engagement ring from a drawer, the one he'd ripped off his finger that night. Plain, scratched, a symbol of a life he'd dodged. "What's the plan for that?" Nate asked, nodding at it. Riley flipped it in his hand, then tossed it to him. "Sell it. Use the cash for something better." Nate caught it, grinning. On it. Days blurred into a new rhythm. The shop roared back to life, cars rolling in, tools clanging, the radio blasting Motown classics. Riley threw himself into the work, hands black with grease, mind clear for the first time in months. Word spread clients didn't just want fixes, they wanted him, the guy who'd stood up and won. A local paper called, ran a piece, "Detroit Mechanic Fights Back. Wins Big." He framed it, hung it by the door. Then an idea hit. He'd cashed the ring, $800, not much, but enough. He posted online, "Free weekend classes for kids who want to learn cars. Starts next month. No grease monkeys here, just builders." Sign-ups flooded in, teens from rough blocks like his old neighborhood, eyes hungry for a shot. A week later, he got a call, "Hensley again. Layla's out," the man said, clipped. "Your evidence sealed it. She's lucky we didn't press charges. Falsifying her story could have gone legal. She's done in this industry." Riley leaned against his truck, the sun dipping low. "Appreciate it." Hensley paused. "You ever need a reference, Carter, call me. Guts like yours? Rare." The line clicked off, and Riley exhaled, long and slow. Done. Really done. That night, he stood in the shop, alone, the quiet wrapping around him like a friend. He thought of Layla, her last plea, her fall, and felt no glee, just closure. She'd seen him as a pawn, a punchline, but he'd rewritten the story. He flicked off the lights, the framed article glinting in the dark. Outside, snow fell soft on the city, blanketing the past. His phone pinged, one last text from Nate. "Sold the ring, $900. Beers on you." Riley laughed, typing back, "Deal." He locked up and walked to his truck, boots crunching. The shop wasn't just a job, it was his backbone, his proof. Layla had tried to break him, but she'd failed. He built something stronger, respect, earned not given. As he drove home, the skyline glowed, a city that bent but never broke, just like him. The road ahead was his, and he'd ride it proud,